I'm Alan Spears with Occupy Democrats, and surging into the headlines today, Kamala Harris absolutely eviscerating Donald Trump and calling him out on a very blatant insecurity that she sees in him in a brutal interview she did with none other than Charlamagne the God. Now, I have several clips I want to show you today prior to watching the viral video from this interview. However, one of the many topics that was discussed with Charlamagne and Harris was that of race. Now, as you are very well aware at this point, Donald Trump has absolutely zero problems or issues putting his xenophobia and racism on full display for the public to see. You need only listen to him for about a minute before you will hear some of the most wretched things uttered out of his foul mouth. And with Trump having zero issues attacking Harris and many other Americans based solely on the color of their skin, well, you can guarantee that race is going to play a very large role in this election. And Harris had absolutely zero issues laying into Trump and tackling his racist rhetoric. Take a look.
And but back to Detroit. Can you imagine? You go to a city and you say you want the votes of those people, and then you disparage the city.
Damn.
And that's what he did in Detroit. And he has a tendency to mention cities that either have a historically black majority population or...
Now, this is hardly the only instance of Trump and his supporters demonstrating that they clearly have no problem saying what's clearly on their mind and that they have an issue with anyone who has a particular amount of melanin. As we see in this next clip, Harris also tackles the issue of the border and Donald Trump once again using immigrants as a means to campaign and leverage fear-mongering rather than presenting solutions. Take a look.
Why do you allow them to call you the border czar when that's not even that wasn't your role?
I'm not giving him permission for that.
Oh, you're right. But I mean, you don't push back on it because that wasn't your role.
Fact checkers have made that clear. Look, if I responded to every name he called me, I wouldn't be focused on the things that actually help the American people, and that's my focus.
Now, racism and xenophobia are pillars, the cornerstone or the bedrock, if you will, the foundation of Donald Trump's rhetoric and the messaging surrounding his campaign. But really, those are just two parts of a much grander design that he clearly has in store if he is reelected, and that is ultimately suspending the Constitution of the United States, which, you guessed it, Harris had a few thoughts and a few choice words to share with Trump and his campaign about that notion. Take a look.
His plan includes making it more difficult for working people to get by and to destroy our democracy. You know what he says he'll do? Terminate the Constitution of the United States.
That's right.
Let me remind folks, you know what's in the Constitution of the United States? The Fourth Amendment, which protects you against unreasonable searches and seizures. The Fifth Amendment, the Sixth Amendment, the 14th Amendment, and he's going to terminate the Constitution of the United States, which in most of those amendments, one thing or another was about a movement spurred by black people to ensure that we would be equally protected under the law. Come on.
So clearly, Donald Trump's desire to roll back the U.S. Constitution and the various amendments that protect the freedoms and rights of a wide variety of different people is clear demonstration that he is single-mindedly trying to achieve an authoritarian regime. But it really does beg the question as to why Trump is using the rhetoric that he is, and why does he seem so persistent and determined to cozy up to other authoritarians? Well, it would seem that Harris has the answer for us, as she knows Donald Trump quite well, as he is but one of the many criminals that she has prosecuted, and has given us a bit of a breakdown as to why Donald Trump has acted the way he has, and as you might have guessed, it all stems from insecurity. Take a look.
And again, you know, here's Charlamagne, one of the things that I think is really ironic but at play. Donald Trump, through his way of trying to name call and demean and divide, tries to project as though those things are a sign of strength, when in fact the man is really quite weak. He's weak. It's a sign of weakness that you want to please dictators and seek their flattery and favor. It's a sign of weakness that you would demean America's military and America's service members. It's a sign of weakness that you don't have the courage to stand up for the Constitution of the United States and the principles upon which it stands. This man is weak and he is unfit.
Once again, Harris proving to be a voice of reason and hope in a very dark time, and she's absolutely spot on. Throughout the years of his presidency and in the years following, Donald Trump has had numerous opportunities to simply put the interests of the people and the country above his own, and at every opportunity, he has chosen to do the exact opposite. Trump is a narcissist and a coward. He has zero interest in doing the right thing. He has zero interest in you or your well-being. He is only ever thinking about what he can get out of it, what power he can achieve, or what money he can get. It is pathetic. But where Donald Trump lies slinking in the shadows and is trying to get us to return to a point in history where we never really were, and we are certainly not going back, Harris represents a better and brighter tomorrow. She is looking to the future, and fortunately, this message does seem to be resonating with most sane Americans. But, as always, it does not matter how many of Harris's videos get a ton of views or a ton of likes or who shares what, and believe me, their Twitter is incredible. But what really matters is whether or not you vote, so please mark your calendars. Tuesday, November 5th, and show up to the polls, cast your vote, and make your voice heard.